your white label domain, your logo, your name. So even everything like, and that's what your end users would see when they try to go and figure out like, oh, I need to connect the API to Zapier, GHL, ManyChat, whatever it may be. So there's a lot of kind of cool stuff going on there. Right now, when we release, the first endpoint will be for sending a query, getting a response, and then within a few days, we'll have all the other kind of main ones of collecting the lead form, which will be a custom lead form. You can add your own custom questions and be able to take in all of that information and send it to anywhere where you can do email follow-ups and so on and so forth. So,
Ross, is the API included in the standard pricing packages?
Yes, everybody on every level will get the API. Yeah. Hey, Chris, how's it going?
Hey, it's going pretty well. Good morning, good afternoon.
Cool. Farouk, did that help answer that question for you?
Yes, it did. And I guess that's going to be pretty soon released, I guess, because I didn't see in the roadmap.
Yeah, probably by the end of the week.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Because I just announced I just built a web page, explaining everything and the pricing and all that, and I just blast it out through my community. So hopefully, they'll come with some responses.
Perfect. Yeah. Well, I'll be teasing more stuff on my Instagram later today. And then the second that I get finished kind of going through it, making tutorials and making support documentation for it, we'll be pushing it out to everybody, like as fast as we can.
Great.
So very exciting. Yeah, Paul, do you have a question?
Yeah, I had a quick one. Ross, I want to thank you, by the way, Ross, for helping us get everything set up. We were able to get that demo out, that basic demo.
Awesome.
And I just wanted to mention there was feedback. So we sent it the use cases for technical support, but we channeled it through the national sales manager, who just actually today forwarded it off to their operational person. So that's good. Okay. But the feedback was, they asked, and I've had this in the past, but they asked, is there any way the responses could reply faster in the typing? I think what happens is they use, for example, ChatGPT. Yeah. And then they expect that same type of speed and response. So I just said, there's reasons we do that, with the guardrails. I said, let me check and see what we can in fact do in terms of rate adjustment. I left it at that. Okay. What's your thoughts on that?
So we do, there is a section in the editor. Have you played around with that at all?
I have been in the editor, but I didn't see it. That's why I wanted to check with you before I went screwing around with it.
I'll show you real quick. And we will be adding another update to this eventually to make it even more module, because we had some people ask for that. So essentially, if you go into any bot, into the view interface here, you can click this modify chat interface, and there will be the response typing speed.
Got it. I'll take care of that right away. Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah.
I was wondering about that as well. Great.
Cool. Yeah, and so, I mean, I guess a question back to you guys, would you like it to be a slider where you would have more control over how fast it actually is, and maybe even potentially an option where it just waits to get the entire message and then sends the message back in one chunk?
I've used the entire message in response and other developments in the past, and I've had people complain on that because you have to wait. Yeah. So if you include that option, my suggestion is share just from going through that. I had folks give me feedback, said because the solution we were using had just 3 dots while it was transforming, right, the data. Yep. And they said if you could have it state something to the user. So we changed it to put agent is thinking, agent is analyzing, and it really made a big difference. So I just wanted to pass that along.
Okay.
It's just a perception thing, right?
Yeah.
But I do like the slider idea, so I vote yes for that, definitely.
Okay. That's good to know.
Cool.
Cool. Right on. We're
So,
kind of in a, everyone else, we're kind of in a free flowing format today. So if you have questions, you can raise your hand, pop in, just ask question, whatever you'd like. Farouk, you had one?
yeah, sorry, I do have one. Apologies.
You're good.
Because I just signed up literally a few hours ago for the full one. And I saw on the website that you can give free demos. I mean,
Yes.
I can't find that option, or how is the process of doing that?
So by default, show. So if I was to log into my version of the white label dashboard, when you're on the agency account, you have this option is now shown to your users. New user, create an account. And so what will happen is when I click this, it will allow me to create a sub account in your white label agency.
Correct, yeah.
And when that happens, it'll come up here as a little free trial, and they'll have 50 credits to be used in their account. Now this, they get one chatbot, but it doesn't take away from your available chatbots.
I see.
It only takes 50 credits from your agency pool of available credits. And so the idea here is you can now tell your clients, you can sign up with my white label platform with a free trial, no credit card required, which is huge.
Yeah, because I was actually, when I blasted the information out, I could see some messages on my chatbot and they were asking for a free trial. And I think they were assuming that we have to pay first. So yeah, I gotta change the information there. So that's great. So they just need to sign up and they automatically get free trial. Anyone who signs up without a credit
Yes,
card.
exactly. Yep.
Okay. Great.
See. Anybody hankering for an answer on something? Or a couple of the things I can actually show you guys some new information. I'm working on based off of the few hundred conversations that me and my team have had with agencies now, we've compiled a lot of the same answers, and a lot of the same questions have been around how do we sell it? How do we create an offer? How do we position this to our users or to our customers? And the two best examples that we've seen so far, and I believe I showed you this yesterday, Farouk.
Yeah.
These are the two options that we've found to be most successful: the save them money option or the make them money option. The save them money option is a customer support service option that is positioning it as a way to reduce the amount of customer support VA hours a business has to pay for. And this is one of the exact examples that we have on, whoa. So one of our client examples from this e-commerce site, they were spending this amount of time. This is one of my good friends. He's one of our alpha users. So I'm only charging him like $100 a month. But the idea is to position it in a way where, hey, look, we're saving you so much money, and we can take a small, delta off of that savings as our cost. And your net is still a massive savings per month. And then there's obviously some side benefits of maybe, pushing them to a certain product page, which then could yield another checkout, yada, yada. The other example is the make them money option. And this is the lead generation or sales chatbots that have been used in a number of different ways. One of the most successful ways has been into basically qualifying or providing a quote to a potential customer. So we're instructing the AI to ask a user a set of questions, and then based on those responses, it can calculate a quote. And so for one of my side businesses, we do dumpster rentals, or hauling trash essentially. And so what we can do is ask the user, are you hauling concrete or are you hauling mattresses? And like how, what's the general square footage of how much concrete you have? And then the AI will take in all of that information and be like, hey, John, ballpark quote is going to be about 150 bucks. Would you be interested in talking with an agent about that or talking with one of our guys? And then that's where these numbers start to come into play. So we're basically just at scale, because the AI is doing this at scale, we're providing more quotes, which means more people are interfacing with the business, which is just more opportunities of putting ourselves in front of the customers of here's a quote, get on a call, which can then yield to new jobs being booked. And so this is like a big course basically that I'm going to be putting out on YouTube for free, but it'll go over the whole kind of process of signing up, getting started, getting your tech stack, doing some lead gen stuff.
Ross, that qualifier, that's awesome. How it can analyze that dumpster example you gave.
Yeah,
That's
pretty cool.
If you could give them a range, I have a few questions if it's okay. Just
of course. Yeah, go.
So basically, when you do that for best practices, do you find it's best to how do you hand off to live agent? Like we usually do a link to a contact page or Calendly, or do you prefer to do you have the ability where you go right to a live agent?
So as it stands today, it's just providing a Calendly link or a phone number to call.
Yeah.
That's like, it's extremely simple.
I'll share if I may. I mean, I've been doing this from the old days, with the old technology. So one of our partners is TalkTo, which is huge in the live chat, and their whole model is based off of handoffs.
Yeah.
But I got to tell you, the challenge with the handoff, that model drives you to get more virtual agents, right? So even if you have they tell you it's $1 an hour, and by the way, they're the best at it in the world. I love them. They're wonderful people, but I think that model has to evolve, right, to what we're doing now.
Yeah.
So here's an example just to let the team know, everybody know, like when you have a model where there's a live handoff, whoever that customer is, that's a human resource they need, whether they own them or rent them. And even the best ones that I know of, like TalkTo, you're looking at about $380 a month for 12 hours and then $720 a month for 24 hours, just chat response, not live human, not live in person.
Yeah.
The next levels, as virtual assistants, those start at, some people say $1,200, but a good one's $1,800, $2,400, and it goes up from there. So keep that in mind when you're talking to customers or prospects, because any click is going to have an effect. And if that effect has to add more time and energy of a human resource, you should double think it, right? And the more qualifying you can have the technology do, the more efficient the process. I know that sounds basic, but you'd be amazed how many people, two things I've learned, over the years. Data's a mess, right? This is really a data story. I mean, where we make our money is on the data repurposing, right?
Yeah.
So we've been doing that for years, many years, with a lot of the high tech. It's amazing, right? The more complex the company, the more a mess their data is. So keep that in mind, data and people, but it's people at the core. So if I could share with the team, always keep that in mind. They're going to ask you for 100 different things. Narrow, every 10, try to narrow them down to 1 or 2 steps.
Yeah.
And that'll save them time, like Ross was saying, time, money, and human resources, right?
Yeah.
So that's my thought there. And then just a couple quick questions, Ross, and I'll shut up. I'm sorry. I'm just excited.
No, you're good.
Share. So for media, the old style, right? The menu-based agents, you can plug right in, right? Whether it's an image or a video clip. With the new ones, we just use links. Okay. I know large language model, multimodal are evolving. I don't have your expertise on that. When do you see that becoming more the norm, Ross? Or do you see in the future we'll just keep using links to images, links to videos? What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, it's probably gonna be released. Like I'm starting to see the rumblings of multi-modal too, or modal. I'm not sure what the right
multimodal. You're right. Yeah, there's both.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm not. So what I'm thinking is because right now, like the only model that you can actually fine tune, like truly fine tune, is DaVinci 3, which is before 3.5. which is like really old, you know, now, so to speak. That is going to be phased out, just as like we're kind of seeing with ChatGPT and how now the default is number 4. They're raising their, so like I think we're starting to see it kind of go up in terms of functionality. With GPT-4 API, we're able to do far more than what 3.5 can do. I was telling Farouk yesterday, it's like a 6th grader versus a senior in high school. Like it's that much of a difference. I'm thinking this next iteration, whether it's 4.5 or a next version of 4, will be able to do these things. So it will be able to render out a image or HTML or something in that sense where it's not just a link, it's showing the actual content.
Yeah, and I'm thinking not even a generated one, but one that we could store in there and have
exactly.
it trigger.
Exactly. Yeah. So like you could just put in a link to a CDN link and it would deliver that item from that link.
Yeah. And then my only other, thank you. My only other question is for right now is I had a case where we were competing with another vendor who was marketing the AI, but when I looked at the solution, it was actually the traditional, like our old technology, you know, the menu-driven bot. They were marketing as AI. It was really cool, but it wasn't what they were, and their pricing was higher even. It was kind of funny, but because we included some data repurposing, you know, to prepare it. And I was wondering if anyone else is running into that, and how do you handle that? Because I didn't want to slam. I just basically said, look, relook at the technologies. I explained how the latest technology works, and I said, if you're paying today's dollars, you really want the latest technology. And I didn't want to go down that avenue of slamming the other company, but there's companies out there that are marketing this stuff as the latest, and it's really the old. They might be hybrid, some of them, right? Where it's infused with the AI, right, for responses. But if you look at it, it's still truly menu driven and extremely narrow, right? It's more like an algorithm.
Yeah.
So
I would say like to kind of lean against the tangible aspects of the white labeling dashboard. Many of these other platforms don't necessarily have kind of the simple to use login management to do this stuff, this AI stuff. So instead of having to give them or not give them anything, you can actually provide, if you so choose, you can provide them with the ability to log in and see and manage the stuff that you're actually doing.
And you bring up a good point, Ross, and you know this on those old agents that you create those bots, right? I call those bots, and the new ones I call agents, just to help me mentally clarify. I have those. I had those for years, and even though they're graphical, right, and they're process flow driven, they're a lot more complex than your platform.
Exactly. And we're trying to be the exact opposite of those. Bot press, voice flow, stack AI, like those can all be fragile and break for everybody. And then, I mean, we've had countless agencies come to us and be like, we stopped using all of those because they were breaking at scale. Like when you try to run 5,000 messages every 30 seconds through a bot press automation that's spider webbed around 15 things, it's going to break.
Thank you. No, you just gave me an idea too. I think what I'll do when it comes up, I'll prepare like a basic bot flow on the old stuff. Because I own that, right? I'll keep that.
Yep.
And then I'll say, here, go on our platform now. And then I'll actually show them, right? I'll screen share and say, look at this, how you'd have to do the same function on it. I think that'll settle the score. Right?
I was thinking of doing some speed runs like bot press versus Stammer, and then in 30, I'd build one in like 30 seconds. Like
just look at the interface alone, the steps alone, right? And that's a great idea. Yeah, no, thanks for sharing that. It's a good idea. Cool.
And then the other thing I want to mention on the live chat stuff. So like our intention with our live chat handoff feature is not to go down the route of charging for agents and things, like, because we're not selling to a business, we're selling to you guys as agencies. It's like we stopped after you essentially. So like we're trying to build the infrastructure that provides you the ability to upsell your customer on adding live chat agents. That's not our response. Like we want to give that as an option to you guys to then even make more money. So you could be the ones charging that 800 something per week or whatever for
Yeah.
for a VA.
No,
If
you're
you so
right. I think,
choose.
yeah, go away from that. And the other thing too, Ross, I keep forgetting as I'm talking, I'm here, you have a really simple platform. It's very complex to make things simple, right? You really did a great job of making that platform. I've only played with it a little, but it's so intuitive. You know, we're on the enterprise side, we're partners with Core AI.
Hmm.
They do all the big banks, you know, it's real high end. I only use them for folks that need like HIPAA compliance and things like that, right? But I got to tell you, you know, we do development for them. That platform's complicated. It's not that simple, you know.
Yeah.
So I think you have a much wider scope. We got a bigger audience to go after with what you put together, definitely.
Yeah. Appreciate
Cool.
it.
No, thank you.
Chris, how you doing? Can I help you out with anything? Just hanging out?
Yeah. Just pretty much hanging out right now. I've seen Stammer pop up a few times on my pages. I hear a white label, and just ultimately interested in it. I'm looking into AI every single day, and I'm still newer to this industry, and I don't want to continue to sell other people's things. So just looking into the next steps, and this really has my interest. And I've been looking into a lot of AI automation, particularly on the agency side. So yeah, so it sounds really impressive so far. I haven't actually had the chance to look too deep into it, but I've seen a few videos here and there. So I'm just gonna keep a look into it, and I think I mean I really like what I see so far, and I think I might just end up using it. So
Awesome. Appreciate it. Yeah. Well, yeah. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out. Let us know.
yeah, sure thing.
Cool. Farouk, you had a quick question?
No, but you know, I'm not selling the platform, but I think this is a great way to enter into the AI automation industry, is having this chatbots. And then, you know, as you were saying, you know, you had bot press and all that kind of stuff to make it complicated, where you can build a chatbot in less than in a minute with Stammer, you know, and then you can show the customers that way. That's the simplicity and beauty of it. And that's how you can start off your foot at the door, is by using this. I'm not saying this, I don't have any experience, but I could see that, you know, this is the first step if you want to get into automation. This is the first one, I think.
For sure.
And I'm
Yeah.
hoping eventually the platform will increase in more AI kind of capabilities.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. We've been waiting so long to get our platform has 4 pieces of core functionality, and the API is the last piece of the main core functionality of the platform. And we have hundreds of little tweaks, features, additions, like all these little improvements to basically bring our AI chatbot up to the level of feature sets of everybody else and beyond. And I can't wait till we're able to actually start attacking some of these things, because that will start to allow for more fun automations, more kind of in-depth scenarios. I don't know, it's going to expand where off of the core functionality of the platform, which is it's very exciting. Yeah. Paul.
Hey, Ross, I assume with the API, we'll be able to, if clients ask to, for example, connect to their ordering system so customers can access their order status, we could go that deep.
Eventually, yes. Yeah.
Okay.
So there's another thing on our roadmap for live knowledge base updating. So that will be kind of the first stepping stone of that eventual use case, where we'll be able to ping a data source, and then on a certain time basis, and retrieve that data and then update the knowledge base.
Right, like it could be an overnight update. We could adjust the schedule, right, based on.
Exactly.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
What about data security in case of personal info, order details? So all the security kind of side of things, everything is hosted on AWS, which hosts 60+% of the internet, arguably. So we're fully scalable, fully secure. Only one person essentially has access to the data that's stored on the AWS channel. And it's serviceable around the world. So kind of wherever you're at, it'll be securely delivered to you.
Just a quick question on top of that. I was actually talking to an e-commerce brand a couple of days back, and again, I don't regularly build websites. I'm more into SEO and digital marketing, but one of our long-standing client, they actually wanted to see if there could be something done around AI, chatbots, and their main concern was about data security. Who takes the ownership of breach in case it happens, right? Because if I, as an agency, providing them a white label solution like Stammer, they definitely don't know that Stammer is there in the picture. Then they will hold me accountable in case there is any data breach or in case there are any mishaps with their personal or business or financial data. So just wanted to understand like how to tackle such scenarios, or did you encounter such questions, and what's the best way to solve them?
Yeah. So the way that we've built the platform, it does not rely on a lot of other cloud services. So a lot of other companies, the way that kind of they build their products, they will use APIs to connect certain things to other things. The benefit of our development team is we have enterprise experience that is able to interface directly with these applications rather than having to make them these kind of third-party solutions or cloud services that create our platform to run. So a simple user use case could be like, oh, if you're building chatbots, but they're actually built on top of Make to do things, and you don't necessarily see those things in the back end. We don't use any of that. Like, we're going directly to OpenAI and we're receiving stuff directly back from OpenAI. So the only times the data is
That's where the
open,
second concerning thing happens, right?
that's exactly what I was going to
The
say.
only data is going to OpenAI then.
Exactly. And so that is the only time that it's essentially out of our control and it's into OpenAI's hands. And that data that is sent to them is only the data that is returned in the NLP search, which is the information that is matched against the information that's in your knowledge base. So not all information is sent all the time. It's only the top results that are matched against that user's query to provide the contextual information to the AI to give their best response.
Got it. Because I was just thinking of a scenario, let's say when we talk about training bots on a particular data set, uh, there could be a possibility that customer could maybe, whatever support desk they're using, they could take an export of their existing chats or their existing ticket interactions and maybe try to train the bot in terms of what kind of questions customer typically ask and response. And at times there might be some personal information like credit card details, just in case the customer is sharing that with the agents for helping them process the orders. And do we just give customers a full disclosure that hey, eventually the data is going to go to OpenAI? If you decide to share that information, it's on your own. I mean, we should
Yeah.
not be held liable.
Yeah. So that's what you need to put in your privacy policy. Like, it's being sent to OpenAI. That's how it works. Like, fundamentally, that's how every one of these things works. What I would advise you to do, and this is something that Paul brought up earlier, is like you're cleaning the data. Like, part of the service of SaaS, software as a service, that second S, cleaning the data to remove customer credit cards is kind of the idea of what that will, that's a benefit that you could provide that end client. Because that's definitely something I would advise to not do upfront. Like, definitely don't put in customer financial data into it. That's just something that's a thing I would advise against.
Got it.
Yeah.
Hey, and if possible, can you also show how the interface looks like for the customer? I mean, I did reply to one of your help questions, and you guys got back to me saying that you are actually going to prepare a video, but after that, I haven't seen that video yet. So, I mean,
Oh,
I was just curious as to how the customer interface look and what all things they actually see. I mean, it's different from the agency interface we have.
yeah. It's super simple. I'll be sure to send you that video. This is what essentially the video is. it shows the process of starting on the home page of the website when you experience Stammer for the very first time, all the way down the line to what it looks like when your client logs into your agency dashboard for the first time. So that video I'll send you, and then it will look like this.
The question,
So,
like,
yeah.
sorry. Will you have white label videos, or is it this documentation?
Right now it's just the documentation for the API.
Okay.
So when you, this is what well, actually I'll put it into the, so this is what somebody would see when they, so it would look something like this to a user. They obviously wouldn't have this up at the top because this is only what you as an agency owner and admin would be able to see. But they don't see any of the agency information. They're only seeing what you have assigned or allocated to them in your subscription packages.
Got it.
And so they have, like, as a user, I have the ability to go in, edit, update, modify, interact, just like normal, but that's it. I can't do any of the agency level stuff.
And is there also an option where if they would want to add multiple team members who manages the bot or trains it?
Yep, you can add as many people as you'd like. We don't charge for user seats.
Awesome. Awesome.
Yeah. And then if I was a user and I wanted to buy more chatbots or more credits, I could go into my subscription settings right here and click subscribe. And then that would bring me to your connected Stripe account. And when I pay, you get paid directly. Like, and then all of that stuff is allocated automatically to my account. And you just get notified that you got paid.
Okay. Cool.
Cool. Yeah, Fruit.
Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, just a quick one regarding the going back to the question I had about signing up for the trial. Do they? What's the link? Is it the subscription packages? They have to click on one of them to be able to sign up, or they can sign up without selecting a package first?
If they want to sign up for the free trial, they can just go to app.yourdomain.com and click that create account.
Of course, one. Sorry, yeah.
You're good.
Okay. Yeah,
and then once they get into the account, they'll be able to go into that section where you have your subscription packages, and they can then purchase from there as an option.
Right.
Or they could go to like your website where you have the packages to purchase directly, and they could purchase from there, and it would work as well.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I don't know why it slipped my mind. I could have just put the basic URL.
All good.
And following up on that, you mentioned, like, of course the subscriptions are there, but to purchase extra credits, for example, if they want to do that, I don't see an option to kind of give that in there.
Gotcha. Okay, so let me show you. So when you're here, so this is where you can create your packages.
Yeah, correct.
So you can click this one, create additional chatbots, create additional credits.
Oh, okay.
And so this will allow you to create the name, description, and then add whatever you want. I already have one in here, so I was charging $100 for 10,000 credits.
I see. No, because I guess I just signed up for, if you have the trial version, I don't think that appears. Okay.
Yes, correct. All the Stripe stuff will only appear after you sign up and pay for it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Cool. Paul, do you have something?
No, I was just thinking out loud.
Okay.
Sorry.
All right. Hey, Greg.
Hey, Ross, how you doing, man?
Good, good. How can I help you?
I'm just trying to do my due diligence on all this to see whether or not, this is something that's viable on my side of it. But and I don't mean to sound insulting here, but sustainability. Are you going to be here a year or two from now, or?
Oh, good. I mean, good question. Yeah. So this is my full-time thing now. I I've been running a website development agency for 10 plus years or so. And one of the things that I've always tried to get back to is developing a software platform. I was developing iPhone apps when I was in high school. And I realized over the last 10 years of focusing on customer support and just killing myself doing service, I want to build something that's fully scalable beyond my time. And so now that I've found this really cool project and business, this is the one that I'm turning into my $100 million exit, which should take more than a year.
Are you getting rounds of funding, or is this just between you and your team? Or
we're declining all funding. We're bootstrapping the whole thing right now. I'm not trying to have a boss.
I got you. And what about so OpenAI has been having some money problems here lately. Are there any fears that that might be a problem in the future as well?
I love that. So the fear mongering that went on, they're spending $700,000 a day.
Yeah.
$10 billion will last them 230 years at that price.
Is that what they're at right now?
Yeah.
Cap-wise?
So they're fine. They're totally fine. They're not going anywhere. And to also address those concerns as well, we're going to be eventually adding Llama 2, which is Facebook's model. We'll be doing Google Gemini once they release their model. We'll have, and eventually we'll even have the top 10 on Hugging Face for local installations, because we're getting some questions about people wanting to do local installations that don't even send data to OpenAI. It's just all housed on a storage place.
On their own. Okay. Yeah, that sounds more feasible for concerns about privacy and stuff like that as well. If their company had their own AWS, or even if they want to do on-site, which nobody does that anymore.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the cool thing is our we can deploy it on site. That's what's really cool. Like with some of these models, they're only a couple hundred gigabytes. So like you can easily, and I mean, you can install that on a personal computer. You can install it on your iPhone now. And with our platform is like 10 megabytes, it's like, it's nothing. So like you can install the platform as long as you have the actual model installed on whatever machine. In theory, everything should just work as normal, even though there's no active connection to the internet.
That'll help a lot with the HIPAA hurdles as well.
Yeah, I mean, that's a tough one. That's a really tough one. Yeah. And HIPAA is also like, HIPAA is crazy.
Yeah, that's some of my background is medical stuff, so I'm very familiar with it, and I know how much of a pain the rear end is.
Yeah. So right now it's just like, well, it's back burner for right now, but it's on our radar for sure.
All right, fair enough. Appreciate it.
Yeah, cool. Paul, you had something?
Yeah, you brought up something earlier, Ross, about, on the analytics side, I'm hearing more discussions about the chaining of these smaller models, right?
Yes.
The smaller LLMs. What's your thought on that? And just where are we at in terms of the Stammer offering from an analytics standpoint? And what is your foresight on where do you think the chaining of the LLMs is going for different applications like analytics and things of that nature?
So, so within our platform, analytics will be a part of like the big push of feature sets after API. And I know that wasn't directly your question, but that's just for everyone else if that's what you were thinking.
Yeah.
This is where I see this multi-modal kind of system going. The way I understand it and the way that I'm kind of seeing it, how it will be released to everybody and how we'll be able to utilize it is, if I send a query to an LLM right now, I get one response, and that's the response that's then delivered to me as the user. With multimodal, I'm sending a query to an LLM. That LLM is then sending that query to multiple other LLMs, which then generate all of their responses and send that back to this LLM. This LLM will then look at all of those responses and find which is the most common answers among all of them, and then use that as the response it then generates and gives back to the user. So it's kind of doing this pre-processing of data, checking itself on multiple different times, then see what is the most likely correct response. So
does does it act like a GAN or does it do it differently? It's just sorting on popularity. You know what I mean? It's like, does it act like an adversarial network and try to counter it? Or is it,
I don't know.
I don't know how that works.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I
Yeah.
think that's where, to me, it goes into the I'm not smart enough magic territory yet. I don't understand
I'm
it.
with
So
you. Yeah, I get confused on it. I'm
yeah,
just curious what the use case is for that. Is that more for complex queries or is it just more accuracy?
accuracy, reduction of hallucinations, this
Got
kind
it.
of concept of like, where did that answer come from? Like,
Right.
it's trying to so if in theory that 1 out of 10 responses is that wrong response, it's never going to use that wrong response. It's because it knows that the other 9 are more like this, not like this.
Yeah, we put a demo out and the kid was a technician and you could see the logs, right? This was on another play. And he wrote something like it was for a milling machine, a 3D manufacturer. And he responded something like, how do I fix a flat tire? To try to trick it. And it came back. Yeah. And I was like, I told him it's just a demo, but it came back and it said, listen, I'm not, as an AI, I'm not designed to do that, but I can help you with this, this, and this. And he was so impressed. I said, that's not that impressive. That's what it's there for. I said,
right? Yeah.
I don't know where he goes. Well, as a technician, he was just trying to, so be careful, everybody, when you put your demos out, make sure they're tested enough because people are going to treat it like a finished product and try to toy with it.
Oh,
Definitely.
break it. Like the people try to break ours constantly. All the like
it's amazing, right? It's
24/7.
amazing. Yeah.
We rip through so many credits by like people spamming our site and like, oh, it's ridiculous. Yeah, we had to take down. I don't know if anybody has seen the one of the first webinars that we did with one of our agencies, Brock, with Flovo.ai. We had to completely take down his site because he was the same thing was happening to his site because we promoted him as like one of our first agencies because he's an advertising agency. And we had to completely we had to shift him to a completely other domain because he was getting spammed with too much stuff.
Oh man.
Oh yeah. We've been getting asked about that a lot, and we just we had to take it down. So if you go to Flovo now, it redirects back to Stammer. So it just uses our credits, not his credits.
Yeah. Be careful of that. It's frustrating, but people will do it definitely just to play.
Yep. Some of the messages are
yeah,
it's pretty funny. People trying to break it, but yeah.
Sorry, I got another one.
yeah, go for it.
From experience, like of course, when you set up the chatbot and it takes time to train it, to give it more information, to give the correct response. How long does it normally take to kind of have like just I wouldn't say perfect, but like just right kind of replies getting back? Does it take a month, 2 months? I mean, of course, depending on the client, them doing it themselves, but in general,
yeah,
how long would that normally take?
When we first deployed these to end clients, like the Greenwater Labs example, we were training it for about 2-3 days. And so what we were doing is we were just going in, and this wasn't 20, like it was maybe 3 sessions over 3 days of maybe 15 to 30 minutes a piece. Like it's not that much, but it's very specific in the intention of going into, and I'll show you exactly where, of going into a chatbot and asking questions in here. And I'll go to let me go to here. So like, what can you do? Like, this is probably going to give me nothing. Oh my gosh. So slow. So the idea is like, if this gives you a generic response that's not about the business, you click train better response and give it a better response of what you want it to do.
Yeah.
This process of going through, that's what we are saying is like, this is the training. So by doing this process and going through it a few different times, that's kind of this like pre-training or pre-positioning data. So that way, when you're actually delivering it to the client, they don't have to do that initial process of what does business name do? And then it's like, oh, I don't know what your business does. Like, that's always the first question that people kind of ask. And if you can force it to be correct always by training a better response, then that first exposure to the client will be that much more positive, that much more mind-blowing, and more likely for them to purchase right away.
Understood.
We'll also be doing a ton more of white label updates with the dashboard, the login page, the sign up page. We'll be kind of spreading out the white labelness, so to speak, throughout the
Actually,
rest
that
of
was
the
one of the features I requested yesterday.
Saw that,
Looking
yes.
for- Yeah.
Yep. Paul.
Ross, what are your thoughts on audio? You know, on mobile, everybody, you can hit Siri and talk your command into it. And I've seen, we don't offer it, but on some of these, I've seen where you could click an audio, speak the command, the request, and get a response in audio. But if you've ever played with them, it could get a little confusing with the audio responses. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, it's on our roadmap. That was one of the first kind of ideas and things that I had was like, oh, I want to be able to clone my voice in 11 Labs and then use an 11 Labs API key to just place my voice into a chat. So my users are getting my chat and response.
Especially with like persona agents, you know, like if you have an influencer and you're making it, we make some for them. They might want to have it. They want it in their own words, the responses. So you got to be careful when you're training it. And now I got people asking, they want it in their own words, literally their own voice.
Yeah. So the way that we'll be doing that is through an 11 Labs integration with their API. And then on the other side, so that's on the roadmap, it's called text to voice to text, or maybe it's opposite, voice to text to voice. So it's both ways.
Yeah.
So the first way is like, I want to hear audio.
Yeah.
That would be the 11 Labs integration.
Okay.
I want to say audio and it then translate that. That's going to all be done through OpenAI's Whisper model.
Right.
So
what's time, just roughly, what's your time frame on that? In case people ask, I could say that's something we're offering down the road.
Probably beginning of next quarter.
Wow, that's fast.
When like the core stuff took us, you know, like everything with development, it takes 3 times as long or costs twice as much. That's what we found with our core development. Took 4 times as long, cost 3 times as much. The cool thing is all of these little, and I say little, like they're not platform directional features. They're going to be a lot easier for us to develop moving forward because we've got these big things kind of taken care of. White labeling as a function throughout the entire platform is one of those things that we need to make sure that we think of, because like we're developing on 3 levels essentially. So anything that we do has to kind of go through that filter, which is why things might take a little bit longer. But even then, next quarter, still relatively pretty quick.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
It reminds me of I never thought we'd reach that, like, you know, Star Trek when you say computer, something like that. I was waiting for that.
Like that Jarvis, the movie Her. Like I remember when 11 Labs first came out and people made the Her with Scarlett Johansson's voice, and it's just like, what? We're living it, man.
It's going to go from novelty to function real soon. Yeah.
And then to commodity real quick.
That's
real quick. Yeah. That's going to be an interesting shift. But it's also interesting too, because I thought that we were heading to this commoditization a lot faster. In the last 2-ish, 3 weeks, I've realized that we're not even on that. Like we see it's over there, but it's way over there. Like the amount of businesses and agency owners that this is all still new. It's all still new. Like people are just now kind of getting their foothold and starting to really scale these things. So like agencies that are just getting started now they're at the starting line. Like it's, you know, we're all kind of getting started together. Anybody that's established right now is using these fragile things like bot press and as we know at scale, they just don't work.
Yep.
So we've got a head start, basically.
Yeah, a pretty tremendous one. I'd say so. And I think that's like when it gets to a point where businesses know and want that they want AI is when it's going to be commoditized. Like right now, it's like, what are we that we're selling the end results and solutions, like Paul mentioned, save time, save money, save hassle. When it gets to the point of a customer asking, I want an AI chatbot, that's when the point it's going to be oversold, over commoditized, like saturated.
And Ross, if I could add to that, a lot of folks don't even know what AI is and isn't. You know, half of our requests are really SaaS development projects, right?
True.
And we have to respectfully say, well, we could do this piece, but we might want to put you in touch with some of our friends and colleagues for this other stuff. And that happens honestly every week.
Yeah.
So keep that in mind. You know, make sure you let your, just to share, I know everyone's got different experiences here, but you know, we're learning every day. I tell everybody, make sure you take time to explain to everyone respectfully, you know, here's what it is and here's what it is not.
Exactly. Yes.
It's huge.
I think as our feature set starts to expand to meet our competitor, to meet our competition, that is going to be even more clear, because the side by sides of getting things done for the same end result is going to be 10, 20x more for these other things.
Yeah. Seconds matter and clicks matter. It all makes it, every step matters. That's right.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
And making money is not too bad also, you know. Hey.
It's always good. But like you said, it's either twice the budget and triple the time, or triple the budget and twice the time, right?
Yep. Yep.
That's just how it is.
And even, you know, even though it did take longer, it was like I made the right choice by focusing on developing the platform first.
Yeah.
Because the white label features that we're building on, like we're building everything on top of, can be easily switched to any other utility or service down the road.
Yeah, and thank you for making it affordable, you know, because everything is cash flow. We talk to developers all the time. We're looking at analytics. You know, we have an old analytics tool we're updating. Some of our relationships, they're hundreds of thousands just to get into to private label. And these other ones now that are saying, oh, we're democratizing it. They start at 1,500, but if you look at the volume, you're looking at the thousands every month. Think about that. That eats into your cash flow, right? Yep. So thank you for making something so affordable, white labeled, right? That's a big deal.
Yeah, yeah. And that's our competitive advantage and moat. Like these it's so difficult to go backwards within your code base to be able to white label stuff. And not in the sense of just changing a logo. Like the fact that our embed codes in the API is white labeled, I don't even know how we did that. And I'm just like,
that's huge. That's huge, because people will look at that. We've had that happen, and if they in the past, and if they see who that supplier is or the vendor, they'll go directly to the vendor to, you know, to save after you did all the work to set it up. So be careful.
I don't want to say we invented it. I highly doubt we did not invent it, but I've never seen the term white label webhooks anywhere.
No, that doesn't exist.
Doesn't exist. So did we create it? I don't know. Maybe. I might make a TikTok on it. The last thing I'll mention for today, guys, I had somebody mention an interesting topic the other day. So instead of SaaS, it's SWAS, software with a service. And because all of the information and things that we've been talking about, Farouk, you told me this, right?
Yeah.
Yes. That concept, I've told every single person I've talked to on a call since we talked yesterday, I've told people about this concept, and every single person was like, oh my God. Like, and I can see the gears are turning. And so not much more than really that, but I'm going to make, like, I'm just kind of thinking about that. It's been, I have my notes on it still. It's been just kind of swirling in my head since we talked yesterday, Farouk. So
with the service.
Shout out to you on that one, everybody. He came up with that. Cool. Any last questions? Anybody I can help out before we go?
No, I just want to just thank you for taking the time to meet with us all today. Very informative, and like I said, I'm going to be digging deeper into this. So you'll definitely be hearing from me.
Perfect. Awesome. Thank you. Yeah, appreciate you could join us.
Sure thing.
Cool. Awesome. Well, thanks, Paul. Thanks, Farouk, Greg, everybody else. Thanks for joining. I'm sure
Thank you, Ross.
you'll
Thank
be
you, everybody.
you'll be seeing some emails later this week from us about the API, and then hope you guys can join us next week and we can chat about it and go over any other questions.
All right.
Cool.
Thank you.
Very much.
Awesome.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, guys. Take care.
Appreciate it.
Bye.
Bye.